Black supremacy, Nattyisisyah, and I want to talk about some pink moon, some reproduction, right? Some black supremacy. Because, today is supposed to be the pink moon, which really seems like it started last night. I noticed it out there. It was really beautiful. It reminded me back to when I first had one of my consciousness explosions when I was younger. And, there was a halo around the moon, and it was like multicolored. It looked like a rainbow. So I don't know if they would call that a rainbow moon, but last night they claimed it was a pink moon, or, today they claim it's a pink moon. It didn't really look like, the moon itself didn't look pink, but the halo around it does. And it does kind of shine like a pink aura or energy frequency, because I was out late last night and like the whole area was just lit up. It was bright, really late last night. And it's like the higher it goes up in the sky, the brighter it gets, and the brighter it shines down. So to jump into now reproduction. So also today I saw a pile of, what should I say? We call it hay, but it's really pine needles. And, I saw a bunch of that, and I was going to throw it away because, it's on top of something. And I was like, man, what is this doing right here? I figured, probably because of the tornado two tornadoes that just came through in like 2 separate days, that, it just blew that stuff down there. Right. So I was going to basically brush it off, but, something said, don't do it. So I didn't do it. And my daughter, she saw that it was 2 bird eggs inside. And, I heard when the bird was doing it, and I was going to be like, so something kind of clicked in. It said, that might be a nest, but I was kind of like, well, why would it be right? Why would the bird put it right there? But then I also saw some moss inside the what we call hay. So something told me don't do it. My daughter, she's seen 2 eggs. I think really at first she saw 1 egg, and then I went and I investigated a little further, and it was 2 eggs. And it's like, when you are out in nature, you are privy to a lot of things, right, that you're not necessarily going to get if you're in a house or in an apartment, and it is humbling, right? And it should be, because you're up against a lot when you're out in nature. You gotta, again, you want to be conscious, and it makes you more conscious and aware of the things around you and of yourself. And it's like this whole time, and the eggs were pink, the moon is pink, so it's like the whole timing is like, it's really divine. And it brought me to thinking about a survey that was done about maybe 2 or 3 weeks ago. And the survey was talking about how men don't see the benefit of women using birth control. Like men don't see how they have benefited from women using birth control, right? And it's like, while 80% of the people who participated in the study see the benefit of women being able to have sex without having to worry about getting pregnant or, having children, and building relationships with these partners that they have these sexual intercourses, and they can't seem to fathom, or about, I think it was like a good degree can't seem to fathom how it benefits them, right? And, especially financially. And it's like, when you're in nature can kind of provide for you, and it really should take some of the burden and the stress off of having to, provide for another growing body, another entity, another being, right? And as a society, it's like we have become so privileged, it's like a type of privilege that people feel that, we have the science and the technology to not get pregnant. So therefore, it's no benefit to me if I am able to sleep with a bunch of women or sleep with a bunch of men and not have to worry about these responsibilities, because by the very nature of our society, that is a privilege. It's not a luxury. Birth control is not seen as a luxury, in the West. It's not seen as a luxury. Where in other places, you don't have a choice. You're going to have that baby. If you engage in sexual activity, if you do these things, and it's also like it's part of life. You know what I mean? It's only like with a Western type of mindset can you really look at life as a burden, or look at life as something that you do not have to be a part of. Like, you don't have to contribute and create and nurture, you know what I mean, and bring forth and basically help to continue to give birth to, right? So it's like we kind of have to come out of that mindset that, because there's birth control and I can go to the doctor and I can pop this pill and I can slip this condom on, you know what I mean? And I could rub this spermicide and, use all type of birth control methods. We got to come out of that mindset, because it's like, it's like a very calcified pineal gland way of thinking, if I can say that, because it's like, we're still in nature. I don't think people realize that even though you're in your apartment, even though you're in your building, even though you're in your house, you are still in nature. You're still a part of nature, and nature is still very much a part of you. Like, you cannot cut yourself off. You're not going to become metal. I want to say you're not going to become a robot, but some people can be very programmed, but like, you're not going to actually become metal and, become this body that is just, completely programmed and completely ruled by somebody else. A lot of people will say, everybody's under brainwash and under mind control, and they don't have control of their own bodies and their mind, and they're being told how to think. But nature will always kick in. Nature always kicks in. And I think it was J. Edgar Hoover, he knows this. He knows about that phenomenon, that natural phenomenon that he is talking about is, your consciousness awakening, right? And you being like, this is not right. This is the way things are supposed to be. Get back in nature. Get back in tune with nature. And that consciousness explosion, or that natural phenomenon, is unavoidable in most people, especially if you're Black, right? And that is why, a lot of the laws are designed the way they are. You can't loiter, you can't be here, you can't be there after dark. The park closes, at a certain time. No trespassing, they are trying to keep you out of nature, because a lot of people don't believe that you can be in tune with nature, that you can get back into nature in the Americas or in the West, right? But it's like, majority of this place is forest, is what you would call jungle. If you look at the maps, you will see that majority of people live at the border of Canada and America, right? What about all the rest of this place? All the rest of this place is unpopulated, wild, open territory, right? That we're not taking advantage of, right? And that, we're under the impression that we got to be behind these closed doors working for some corporation, or that the only escape is if, we hop on a plane and, fly somewhere, we take a boat or take a train to somewhere else. When in reality, you have all of nature, around you, and it's like so much unexplored territory. And for one, I know from my own experience from being out in nature, right, is that you do breathe differently from how you breathe when you're outside. But like, when I tell you that you don't really have to go to too far off, right, to really experience a lot of the benefits of nature. That's a fact. So back to these people who don't believe that that they're benefiting. You know, if you believe in white supremacy, if you are part of the system and part of the matrix, you know, in a way, you're not going to see the benefits because you are trained and programmed again that it is your privilege and your right to not have to care for any type of children. You know, white supremacy, the matrix, the government, or the social status, they don't like children. They don't like lots of children. They don't like people who do. You know, we live in a very anti-child society. We live in a very anti-reproduction society. You know, this is a society that is bound for failure. You know what I mean? Because they don't want to really support reproduction. You know, they want to fund Planned Parenthood. And you have a lot of people who are, you know, very keen supporters of Planned Parenthood. And you know what I mean? They look like you and they look like me, and they might be talking a lot of, you know, metaphysical stuff, a lot of spiritual stuff. And, you know, but when you listen to them, they're very anti-child, you know, but they want to tell you that, you know, you need to get back in tune and in touch with yourself. They want to tell you about how spiritual you are and about how spiritual they are and about how divine, you know, things are. But when you bring up children are looked at as the spawn of the devil. You know, that is something that we shouldn't aspire to have, and that, you know, it's just a taboo topic when it comes to a lot of spiritual practices. And, you know, I experienced this when I went to the Krishna temple. It's a beautiful place. You know, it was a very enlightening, uplifting type of experience. However, you know, it's like I walked in at a time when they were talking about no more births. Those are the words that came out of their mouth. And I was like, what are they talking about? No more births. I didn't come here to hear that, right? But again, these are two white men. You know, all of a sudden, you know, we go from melanated beings to now we have pale-skinned Europeans teaching spirituality, and they're telling the people no more births. And these are the same messages that the colonial teachers was teaching to our people and enforcing, trying to control who we can have children with, and, you know, when and where, right? And a lot of this type of thinking has not gone away. You know, where is a self-sustained society going to have this type of message? You know, you could really only find this message in America, where, you know, you can talk about cloning, right? And you could talk about organ harvesting. And I know I said I was going to make a video about organ harvesting. I'm still going to come up with it, and it's going to be tied into the whole human trafficking thing, and some other stuff. But, you know, I saw the bird egg today and the whole pink moon, so I wanted to talk on that. Now, of course, it was a lot of older men that didn't see the benefit of being able to have sex with women and not have to take care of the responsibilities, or, you know, being a parent or of the child. And while the younger generation, people who are like 18 and between 18 and 44, they saw the benefit, of course, because they want to have sex and they don't want to have to take care of no children, right? But the older people who probably are not having sex, but are probably supporters of things like Planned Parenthood, you know, these white people, majority of them more than likely, who are trying to manifest our demise and our destruction, they're not going to see the benefit in having sex and not having to raise children, because to them, again, it should come as a as, you know, something that they are granted, and they're like a birthright. They have a birthright of not having to give birth. It's very sadistic, like sick and crazy. But again, if they don't want to have to deal with the financial responsibility, they don't want to have to deal with the emotional responsibility, and any type of responsibility, really. They, a lot of people just trying to nut off. You have that a lot in the West, and it's like this whole over-sexualized type of under-sexuality. It's like, it's really twisted. It's really, really twisted. I don't think a lot of people realize just how twisted it can get. But as you can see, I'm all up in the black right now. I could continue, but I wanted to touch on that because it's like, those are the thoughts that came to me today. And the contradictions kind of need to be worked out. They need to be kinked out, because we can't really say that we're all spiritual and we're on this type of path. It's like, yeah, you can get metaphysical. You can get metaphysical with a lot of things. But it's kind of like, if your contradictions outweigh your teachings, or what it is that you have to say, then it will be exposed, and it will be exposed in a way that is unavoidable and is highly recognizable. So I think things like that, where we say that we are, spiritual, but the main teaching is like no births, and it's like, you can't get past that. And not when you look at the society we're in, and it's like, the solution to a lot of the problems that we have is to have more children. I'm going to break that down too. And here's why. Because we live in such an anti-child society. We live in such a death culture, that you have to bring more life into the society. You have to bring an overabundant amount of life. You have to bring life that they cannot deal with. Life has to see itself reproduced over and over again. Life has to become again accustomed to life. You get me? Right now, life is accustomed to death. Life is accustomed to people getting shot, people getting popped. The news is showing your brothers and sisters dying. You're hearing about this person sick and that person sick. People are dying all over the place, right? So yeah, for some people who are eating healthy, and for some people who are, for some people who are eating healthy, and for some people who, they are in tune with nature, your head can get the best of you. You can think, well, you know what, I'm going to live forever, and that's cool, right? But you also have to deal with you gonna live forever, and do what with who, where, at what point are you gonna be like, well, you know what, I'm all eternal. I want to manifest myself. I want to see myself again. That we are here, because we wanted to create beauty. We wanted to see ourselves. You know what I mean? That is why the things are here that are here, is because it is an outward projection of our inward thoughts. Right? So if our inward thoughts are death, no children, no more reproduction, ain't nothing coming out. Ain't nothing more to come out of that. When I see nature is always thriving and striving to continue to reproduce itself and replicate itself, right? And the energy is always trying to kind of expand, and to try to take over, and to try to, to rule and to dominate. You may have some aspects of nature that are very humble and off, but if you see it, you might see them, it might be off to itself, where it's not going to be really affected by other plants or other parts of nature, or it was only meant to be there for a time anyways. It's not going to really be there. But when you really look at nature, you see a lot of nature that's like, you know what, I've been here for 100, 200, 300 years. I ain't going nowhere. And I'm going to continue to reproduce and repopulate myself. Like, I could show you seeds and stuff that is just growing by themselves. Right? You can't stop nature. And it's like, anytime you really try to stop nature, anytime you really try to stop the growth of something that is pure and that is natural, anytime you try to stop it, that is when it goes into overdrive and populates itself even more. Cause when, and people, you can go and research this, and you can go and look this up. When you try to kill certain animals and insects, when you try to kill them, when you try to spray this raid and you try to spray these chemicals and you try to eradicate them, that is when they go into overdrive. Because something kicks in and it says, you know, we're dying. If we don't reproduce ourselves, if we don't repopulate ourselves, we are not going to be here anymore. We're going to become extinct, right? And it goes back to the whole, we don't die, we multiply concept. And that's not a joke. That's not a joke. That is like a real and factual thing that happens, right? So we are under attack. When we talk about spiritual warfare, we got to look at the spiritual warfare that is attacking us through spirituality. That's my next video that I want to talk about, which I also been thinking about. But you know, there is also a spiritual warfare that is attacking us through spirituality. And you know, a lot of other people have been on a lot of these spiritual paths before us. So we might be getting secondhand information. A lot of people are getting secondhand information from some racist, white supremacist crackers. You know, you have them all. They are implanted into every domain. You want to talk about spirituality? You got your racist, eugenicists over there. You want to talk about extraterrestrial beings? You got your racist, eugenicidal people over there. Crackers, white supremacists, Europeans, whatever you want to call them. You got them over there. You want to talk about veganism? They are heavy over there. You want to talk about, you know, prepping off the grid? They've been there. So it's like, we got to look at a lot of these little things before you really start delving into it and putting all your hard-earned blood, sweat, tears, energy, emotion into it. Because, you know, you'll look up, you know, and they will have outnumbered you. You talking about a race of people who aren't really even supposed to be here, who can't really self-reproduce, who numbers are in the negative zeros, trying to tell you not to reproduce, not to have children, not to give life, not to have. I mean, these are your people that you're listening to. And this is the message that is in tune with them. In tune with them. How is a spiritual, enlightened message in tune with your enemy's genocidal message? Eugenic information. Eugenic message. That is not spirituality. That is not true enlightenment. That is not growth. That's not a manifestation. That is not a manifestation. That is a death. That is an infection. That is an infestation. So we're not going nowhere if we sound like, you know, some guru, some white cracker calling himself guru, you know, sitting there pale face looking dumb as hell like he don't belong, culture appropriating, you know, trying to get into the minds of people who want out of this white supremacy, right? And now these people become your guru. You go into these places to grow and to learn. You know, you want to sit and you want to be able to meditate and to, you know, escape from corporate America. You know, you want to get away from friends and family who are just, you know, all about clubbing, partying, drinking alcohol. You know what I mean? And you want to get amongst people that think like you and that behave like you and that, you know, who you feel that you can resonate with. And as soon as you open up yourself, as soon as you say, man, I'm so happy I'm here, I'm so thankful. You know what I mean? I can't wait to build a family, or, you know, I can't wait to meet somebody who I can share my love with. I can't wait to meet somebody who I can, you know, perhaps spend a good amount of your time with, who you can share laughter and joy with, right? Who you can go out and manifest things. You know, it don't have to be sexual. But as soon as you get into that space where you're like, yes, they're going to come and tell you something. Well, you know what? This is it for you. You're not supposed to have no more children, no more births. Forget all of that. You're just here to just bow at the feet, right, of some cracker guru and his teachings. It ain't even about him. It's what he's teaching. It's this white supremacist telling you no more births, no more reproduction. Life is death. You know what I mean? Like, bringing life into this world is the end of life for you, right? But yet, energy is not destroyed. So why would they want to tell you, you know what I mean, to just end it with you? It's a genocidal agenda. It's a genocidal agenda. So we have to be careful of these genocide agendas when it comes to black people in particular. All these other races, right, that want to be quote unquote spiritual, and who these gurus and these racist white supremacists want to say don't have no more births, they need to tell that to their own people, right? Tell Becky don't have no more children. I mean, you really don't need to, but tell her don't even try. Don't even bother trying with no black brother, especially because, you know, we know they're trying that. You know, tell these racist white supremacists no more births, right? Tell them not to try to be having no baby with no black woman, right? Tell these people who are trying to swirl, tell them no more births, right? But as for us melanated black individuals, black beings, you know, we don't need that doctrine. What we need to do is to figure out a way and manifest a way where we can reproduce ourselves, right? In an environment, right? Whether we got to create that environment one way or the other, where it is okay. Where if you are walking down the street with 12 children, it is not a problem. Where these institutions and these facilities, where they respect life and they respect you and your offspring and your seed being planted and growing into this society. Because right now you could barely rent a house, right, without them telling you, oh, you got too many children, right? You could barely go on, you can't really go nowhere without being looked funny. You go on the bus, you know what I mean? Everybody looking at you funny. Well, it's like, you know, aren't you paying your bus fare like everybody else? Right? So it's not even about money anymore. It's about the attack on life. It is about anti-life. It is about the destruction of life in any effort and in any form that they see it in, right? They're here to kill life. They're here to stop this growth, right? So we need to get back into a way, because I know a lot of people can be discouraged from having children. I've had friends that, you know, after 4 children, they're like, no, I gotta, you know, have an abortion. I gotta, you know what, I drink these herbs. And, you know, sisters, beautiful sisters, all this consciousness and all this melanin and all this, you know, these talents, right? But because they feel uncomfortable, because the vehicle, they you know, it costs more money to get a car with more than 4 seats. You know, they killing their children. Or, you know, it comes to mind. Just so we can be accepted in white supremacy, so we can walk the streets with our head held up high, without somebody looking down, you know, not looking at you like, you got too many children, you got too many picking. No. That needs to be changed. That needs to be changed. How about no more death? When are these spiritualists going to teach no more death? right? When are these racist white supremacists going to spread the message of no more killing black babies? Right? We can't have over here, oh, you all killing your babies, y'all going to the abortion clinic. We can't have over here in one area people telling us, oh, black women kill so many of their babies, right? But when you conscious, right? When you the same conscious sister, now you a conscious sister, right? And you like, well, you know what? I'm all about nature. You know, I'm all about being an Ita woman, a natural woman. I'm all about being, you know, connecting back my roots with you know, with Mother Earth and everything. You know, I want to go back to Africa, or, you know, I just want to, you know, do natural things. I'm a conscious sister. I'm a natural woman. But now you got the freaking all these different type of naturalist communities talking about no birth. It don't make no goddamn sense. Right? And if we don't put a stop to this, people's gonna look at you, you know, something happened, they're gonna be like, well, she had too many children anyways. She shouldn't have had all those children. This is their excuse. She shouldn't have had those too many children. That's why now she got put out and she homeless and she can't find nowhere to live because she opened up her legs and had so many children. So giving birth and doing what comes natural is a problem. And their only excuse for this is money. It's not money when you come over to the spiritual side. I understand if you in the matrix and they telling you you shouldn't have more children than you can afford. But when you become conscious and the black woman is God now, how the hell somebody who with that ideology is going to tell you you shouldn't have no more children? You shouldn't have no children in the first place. That means those are demons that you had, and those are devils that you had, and you know, we just need to sit here and wake up. We just need to sit here and enlighten one another. Well, enlighten each other for what? If we only gonna be here until our time comes to transcend this body, it almost don't matter whether or not you wake up in this flesh, in this form or not, because you can wake up as an orb. You can wake up as a star. You can wake up as a you know, another galaxy. You know what I mean? If your energy gonna manifest as a tree, you could wake up as a goddamn tree. You could wake up as a twig. You know what I mean? So we got to get down to the very core of what this anti-child policy is, because that's what it is. It is an anti-child policy. And this policy is being pushed by aromatherapists, by gemstoneologists, by, you know, all the Reiki artists, by astrological people, astrologists. You know what I mean? And you might even have some quote unquote wise woman trying to show you which herb you can use to abort your fetus. You know what I mean? You might have some sacred goddess whores. What, you know, a lot of them, they call themselves this. They ain't got named children. You a sacred goddess performing yoni work and yoni twerking. You bouncing on all these phalluses and all these labs, and you ain't producing no children. I need somebody to explain this to me. Explain this to the people. How it is that you can be so sacred, goddess sexual, so worshiping the black woman, and the black womb man is God. But you don't want nothing to come through that womb or go through that womb other than you. These things need to be exposed. And I know a lot of sisters have been thinking about this and, you know, just haven't got to the point of speaking out about it, right? Because some sisters may be ashamed of the number of children they have. They might be ashamed of the number of baby fathers they have, right? But we can't talk all this metaphysical shit, right? But then when it comes down to having different baby fathers or multiple numbers of children, you're going to be metaphysical, but you can't be multiple reproducing yourself. It just don't make no sense. You know what I mean? You shouldn't be ashamed necessarily if you got children, multiple baby fathers, because why? One reason you wouldn't want to be ashamed is because you want to make sure that your offspring is given that you are planting seeds in a way where they're bound to thrive. You know what I mean? Well, another example could be not to put all your eggs in one basket, which is what somebody had told me a long time ago. And when I heard that, I was like, man, that is absurd. How dare you? How dare you insult me trying to, talk to me in that type of way? But when you look at nature, a lot of aspects of nature is like that. We have been dogged down and dumbed down. You know what I mean? Because we into thinking, into insulting our sisters and calling them thoughts and calling them all these type of names and just baby mamas and this and that. But no,